come here, I need your help. Ooh. So I'm at my homeboy house. She making it seem like it's an emergency, but not a
Breaking news. Stop everything. You won't believe what's just gone down in the King Von murder trial. Lil Tim has been arrested and dragged straight to court in a shocking turn of events that no one saw coming. Is this the end of the road for him, or is there more to the story than anyone could have ever imagined? What in the world is going on behind those courtroom doors? And here's the real kicker: new evidence has surfaced that could change everything. Are you ready for the jaw-dropping details? Because what you're about to hear is going to leave you speechless. This isn't just another twist in the ongoing saga of street violence. This is the kind of revelation that will have you questioning everything you thought you knew about the night King Von was taken from us. How deep does this conspiracy run? Who else is involved? And what kind of power is hiding behind the scenes? Pulling the strings, the clock is ticking, and the courtroom drama is about to reach a level of chaos that will have the entire world watching. Stay tuned, because this isn't just a courtroom drama, this is the beginning of a new chapter in one of the most shocking cases of our time. The tragic night that King Von was taken from us has been one of the most talked about events in recent hip-hop history. But what if everything you thought you knew about that night was a lie? What if the narrative we've all accepted about Lil Tim's involvement in King Von's death is just a small piece of a much darker and more intricate puzzle? Breaking news, this isn't just another development in a long-standing street dispute. No, this is a shocking turn in the King Von murder trial that no one saw coming. Lil Tim has just been arrested and dragged into court, and now the true extent of his involvement or lack thereof is about to be revealed. This isn't just about a simple arrest anymore. It's about a highly orchestrated conspiracy involving more players than anyone could have imagined. Lil Tim's arrest could very well be the start of the most explosive courtroom drama this case has seen. But hold on, it gets crazier. Not only is Lil Tim facing the heat, but new evidence has emerged, evidence that could change everything we thought we knew about the night King Von lost his life. The arrest isn't just a formality, it's the beginning of an unraveling truth, one that will leave everyone in shock. You thought you knew what happened that night, but this new information is about to turn everything upside down. Let's rewind a bit. When King Von was killed, the story was clear. Lil Tim, a member of Quando Rando's crew, was involved in a confrontation with Von and his team outside of an Atlanta nightclub. The situation escalated, and Lil Tim fired the fatal shots. The media portrayed it as an unfortunate, impulsive act in the heat of the moment, a case of self-defense gone tragically wrong. But that narrative, it's starting to look more like a cover-up than the truth. Now, here's where it gets interesting. King Von's sister has just broken her silence, and what she has to say is beyond shocking. According to her, the narrative we've been fed about Lil Tim's involvement in King Von's death doesn't even come close to the truth. She claims there's a larger conspiracy at play here, one that involves far more than just street beef. This isn't about two rival gangs getting into a fight. This is about power, manipulation, and a game of control that goes far beyond the streets. In fact, King Von's sister believes that Lil Tim wasn't acting independently that night. Instead, she suggests that Lil Tim was manipulated, used as a pawn in a much larger game, orchestrated by figures who had everything to gain from King Von's death. Lil Tim was just a tool, set up to be the scapegoat in a twisted plot. But what if that was the plan all along? Could it be that Lil Tim was the fall guy, and the real masterminds are still out there, pulling the strings? That's where the new evidence comes in. According to leaked reports and anonymous sources close to the trial, there's proof that Lil Tim wasn't just involved in a spur-of-the-moment altercation. No, this was all part of a much larger conspiracy. Lil Tim wasn't the one pulling the strings, he was simply being used, and the people who were really behind King Von's death, they have been hiding in plain sight, carefully maneuvering behind the scenes, making sure that the truth remains buried. So, who are these mysterious figures who seem to have orchestrated King Von's tragic fate? According to insiders, the evidence points to a network of powerful people, many of whom have ties to the music industry. These individuals have been playing a dangerous game for years. Using their power to manipulate events and control the narrative, they knew that King Von was rising in popularity, and they saw him as a threat, someone who could disrupt the status quo and change the game for good. And what better way to neutralize that threat than by removing him? But here's the shocking part. These people didn't just want King Von out of the picture, they wanted Lil Tim to take the fall for it. According to King Von's sister, there's evidence that suggests Lil Tim was manipulated into becoming the public face of the crime, the one who would take the blame while the real culprits remained untouchable. Lil Tim was fed a story, made to believe he was acting out of self-defense, when in reality, he was being played by much smarter and more powerful figures who had their own agendas. The more we dig into this case, the more it seems like Lil Tim was just a pawn in a much larger power struggle. What's coming out now is beyond just a simple criminal act. This is about corruption, manipulation, and high-level deceit that goes deep into the world of hip-hop. street gangs, and beyond. That's King Von's sister continues to reveal more information. The narrative around Lil Tim's arrest becomes even more complex. This isn't just a trial about one man's actions on a fateful night. It's about a much darker truth that has been buried for too long. And as the trial progresses, the public is starting to see the larger conspiracy unfold before their eyes. So, what exactly is the new evidence that has everyone in the courtroom on edge? Well, according to the reports, it's not just a few pieces of circumstantial evidence. This is hard evidence that points to a systematic effort to frame Lil Tim and manipulate the course of justice. The new evidence is pointing to connections, money, and power, a dangerous combination that could bring down some of the biggest names in the industry. What's even more startling is that the real masterminds behind this plot are still out there, and they're doing everything they can to make sure the truth doesn't come out. And here's where the story takes another twist. Lil Tim's arrest might just be the tip of the iceberg. The more King Von's sister talks, the more the pieces of this puzzle start to come together. She's claiming that Lil Tim is just the scapegoat, the one who will take the fall while the real culprits continue to operate behind the scenes. But who are these people? And why are they willing to go to such extreme lengths to cover their tracks? The King Von murder trial has only just begun, and already, the shocking revelations are pouring in. This isn't just about finding justice for King Von anymore. This is about uncovering a conspiracy that has been carefully hidden from the public eye. And Lil Tim, he may not be the only one in the courtroom facing the consequences. The deeper we go into this case, the more we realize that Lil Tim is just a small part of something much bigger. As Lil Tim sits in that courtroom, facing the charges that could shape his future, we're left wondering just how deep this conspiracy really goes. What's been uncovered in the last few weeks, ever since his arrest, is nothing short of a scandalous revelation that could change the trajectory of this entire case. The new evidence that has come to light is not only a bombshell, it's the kind of game changer that could destroy careers, expose corruption, and shatter the very foundation of what we thought we knew about the night King Von died. Lil Tim, for all his involvement in the case, may not be the mastermind at all. That's right, King Von's sister has made it clear. Lil Tim was used. He was manipulated, fed a story, and set up to be the fall guy in a plot that has been years in the making. The way Lil Tim was thrust into this situation feels less like a tragic accident and more like a calculated move by those who had much more to gain from King Von's death than just street cred or a rivalry gone wrong. According to King Von's sister, the key players in this story are not the ones you might expect. Let's break this down a bit more. We've been told over and over again that Lil Tim acted out of self-defense that night that he was defending his friend, Quando Rando, and reacting to what he perceived as a threat. The mainstream narrative, pushed by the media, leaned heavily on the idea that this was just a case of a street fight spiraling out of control. But according to the new evidence and the testimonies from King Von's sister, that's simply not the full story. What happened that night wasn't a random act of violence, it was the culmination of a long-standing plot designed to eliminate King Von. Let's talk about the evidence, because this is where things start to get really wild. According to sources close to the trial, Lil Tim's arrest is just the beginning of a much bigger conspiracy. The evidence coming out of the courtroom paints a picture of manipulation, coercion, and powerful figures pulling the strings from behind the scenes. There are rumors that Lil Tim was pressured into taking action that night. He was led to believe that he was protecting his crew, that he had no other choice but to pull the trigger. But according to the leaked reports, Lil Tim's actions were more than just a reflexive response, they were planned, and he was put into a position where he had no choice but to follow through. Who could have possibly orchestrated something like this? Well, here's where the conspiracy takes a darker turn. King Von's sister claims that the real players here aren't Lil Tim and Quando Rando, they're far higher up the chain. The new evidence suggests that Lil Tim was just one piece of the puzzle in a much larger game of manipulation, one that stretches deep into the music industry, street politics, and even powerful people who have ties to both. These figures, the ones pulling the strings from behind the curtain, had everything to gain from King Von's death. Whether it was to control the narrative, take out a rival, or eliminate a growing threat in the industry, Von was seen as a major obstacle, and someone had to take him down. But the biggest bombshell of all, these powerful players knew exactly what they were doing. Lil Tim was, according to the evidence, set up to be the fall guy, the one who would be blamed for everything that happened that night. And while he may have fired the shots, the people behind the scenes were the ones who made sure the situation played out the way it did. It's not just about Lil Tim anymore. It's about the bigger conspiracy that's been hidden for far too long. King Von's sister has been speaking out about this for weeks now, but what's truly disturbing is how little has been done to investigate the real conspiracy. If Lil Tim wasn't acting alone, if he was manipulated into becoming the face of this tragedy, then who is really behind it? And how deep does this go? The answer to those questions might be buried in the courtroom drama, as the defense and prosecution battle it out over the evidence. But the deeper we dig, the more we realize that the truth isn't just elusive, it's actively being suppressed. What's more, the new evidence suggests that Lil Tim was just one cog in a much larger machine. The way this case has been handled from the start makes it clear that someone powerful wanted the truth to stay hidden, and that raises an even more disturbing question. If Lil Tim wasn't the real target, then who is? And let's not forget, the media are the ones who have been shaping the narrative from the very beginning. We've all seen the headlines. Lil Tim kills King Von in street fight. Lil Tim's self-defense claim under scrutiny, and so on. But King Von's sister claims that the media has played a crucial role in manipulating the narrative painting. Lil Tim as the villain while downplaying the involvement of other powerful figures who might be behind the scenes. This isn't just about one man's actions anymore, it's about the power structures that influence how we see the world and the stories we're told. It's no wonder that this case has garnered so much attention. It's not just about Lil Tim and King Von anymore. The story has exploded into a full-blown conspiracy theory involving high-level players, manipulation, and a power struggle that's been going on for years. With Lil Tim now arrested and facing the consequences, the question on everyone's mind is, who else is involved? And how far does this web of lies and deceit stretch? Let's not forget that this isn't just about Lil Tim's future, it's about King Von's legacy. The new evidence coming out of the courtroom suggests that this was never just about a street fight. It was a deliberate attack on a rising star in the hip-hop world. King Von was on the verge of changing the game, and for some, that was too much to handle. The deeper we go, the more it seems like this wasn't just about retaliation, it was about silencing someone who was about to have a major impact on the culture. And with Lil Tim now in the spotlight, we are just beginning to uncover the truth. But one thing is clear, the real story is far from over. This case is about to explode in ways we can't even imagine, and the people who have been pulling the strings are finally starting to get nervous. So, what happens next? Will Lil Tim continue to be the fall guy, or will he finally expose the larger conspiracy behind King Von's tragic death? The trial is still ongoing, and with each passing day, more shocking revelations are sure to come to light. As the King Von murder trial intensifies, it's becoming clearer that Lil Tim isn't the only one whose fate is on the line. In fact, Lil Tim's arrest may just be the tip of the iceberg, revealing a web of lies, manipulation, and powerful players who will stop at nothing to ensure their secrets stay buried. The question now is, who else is involved, and how much of this story have we been lied to about? With each passing day in the courtroom, the story of King Von's death becomes more complex. Lil Tim, once viewed as a straightforward figure in this tragedy, is slowly being revealed as more of a pawn in a much larger game. The new evidence that has emerged paints a picture of manipulation, coercion, and hidden agendas far beyond anything we could have imagined. According to King Von's sister, this isn't just a simple case of street violence gone wrong. It's the result of a calculated conspiracy that goes deep into the music industry, the streets, and the world of powerful figures who have far more to lose than a single street altercation. Lil Tim's arrest is now being viewed as just the beginning of an explosive chain of events that could take down some of the biggest names in the game. King Von's sister has made it clear, this was never just about a single act of violence. This is about a larger power struggle, one that has been brewing for years and finally reached a boiling point. The new evidence suggests that there were powerful players working behind the scenes, orchestrating this entire tragedy from the shadows. And the most shocking part, they've been controlling the narrative from day one, ensuring that Lil Tim took the fall for something far bigger than just a street confrontation. The public has been fed one version of the story, one that paints Lil Tim as a tragic figure caught in a chaotic moment. But according to the leaked reports and anonymous sources coming out of the trial, this isn't the full story. In fact, it's only a small fraction of the truth. The real masterminds behind King Von's death are still out there, and they've been working behind closed doors to protect their identities. But King Von's sister is determined to make sure they're held accountable, no matter what it takes. The conspiracy behind King Von's death isn't just about eliminating a rival or settling old scores. It's about power, control, and the manipulation of everything from the streets to the music industry. The more we dig into this case, the more it seems like King Von's tragic death was part of a much bigger plan. One that was carefully designed and orchestrated from behind the scenes. And Lil Tim, he was just the pawn used to carry out the dirty work. Now, let's talk about the fallout of this situation. With Lil Tim now facing charges and King Von's sister speaking out, the pressure is mounting. The courtroom drama is far from over, and the questions keep piling up. Who else is involved? In this conspiracy, how far does the influence of the real masterminds reach? And what happens when more evidence comes to light? Evidence that could expose the full extent of this manipulation. According to sources inside the courtroom, there are still key pieces of evidence that haven't been revealed to the public yet. This evidence could change the entire trajectory of the case. And while Lil Tim faces the possibility of a lengthy prison sentence, it's clear that he may not be the only one who will pay the price for this conspiracy. The investigation is heating up, and government probes are now looking into the deeper connections that may have influenced King Von's death. What's even more startling is the public backlash that's already starting to build. As King Von's sister continues to drop bombshells, the media and the public are becoming more and more aware that the truth they've been fed doesn't quite add up. Fans, supporters of King Von, and even industry insiders are beginning to demand answers. People are starting to question why Lil Tim has been portrayed as the sole villain in this tragedy, and why no one has looked deeper into the real masterminds behind the scene. Could this case be part of a much larger industry conspiracy, where the truth is buried to protect those in power? In the meantime, Lil Tim is left to face the music, and his future looks increasingly uncertain. But the real question is, who will be the next to take the fall? Is he truly the lone gunman in this entire tragedy, or has he been set up as the scapegoat for something far more dangerous? With the trial ongoing, it's clear that Lil Tim's fate is far from decided. But as King Von's sister continues to shed light on this dark conspiracy, it's only a matter of time before the entire truth comes out. The fallout from this case won't just affect Lil Tim and King Von's sister. It has the potential to rock the entire hip-hop community to its core. People are beginning to realize that this isn't just about one man's death. It's about the power structures that control the narrative, manipulate the truth, and profit. From the tragedy, the case has opened a Pandora's box, and once it's open, there's no turning back. But what about the legal consequences? The investigation into King Von's death is far from over, and more people could be pulled into the spotlight as the truth continues to unfold. Could there be government probes into the people behind this conspiracy? Will Lil Tim become a whistleblower, exposing the full extent of the plot, or will he continue to protect the powerful figures who manipulated him into this position? As we approach the final stages of the trial, it's clear that Lil Tim is not the only one with everything to lose. With the truth starting to emerge, it's only a matter of time before we learn the identities of those who orchestrated King Von's death, and when they're exposed, the fallout will be nothing short of explosive. For Lil Tim, the road ahead is uncertain, and King Von's sister isn't backing down. She's determined to make sure that justice is served, even if it means bringing down the powerful figures who have been hiding in the shadows. And there you have it, the truth behind Lil Tim's arrest and the shocking new evidence in the King Von murder trial. But this is far from over. The story is just beginning, and we've only scratched the surface of the conspiracy that's been hidden for so long. Who's really behind King Von's death? And what's going to happen when the full extent of this manipulation comes to light? What do you think? Was Lil Tim just a pawn in a much bigger game, or is the conspiracy deeper than anyone ever imagined? What happens next in the courtroom drama? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. We want to hear from you. If you're shocked by everything you've just heard, like this video, subscribe to Spillera for more breaking news, exclusive updates, and the most shocking revelations you won't hear anywhere else. Don't forget to hit the notification bell so you won't miss a second of the drama. As this story unfolds, the truth is out there, and we're here to bring it to you. Keep watching, stay curious, and keep questioning, because the truth is far from over, and we're just getting started. Stay tuned for more.